welcome to the All Things Good podcast. I'm your coach and your host, Giovanna Cirillo. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast where we focus on self-development, mental health, and your overall wellness, helping you become the greatest version of yourself. I want to thank all my listeners throughout all over the world. Thank you for supporting the podcast. It truly means so much to me. And I want to know, how are you? How are you doing? How has this podcast been helping you? Are you focusing on the things that are good? If you are struggling with focusing on the good things and practicing gratitude, I want you to try this out. For the next 7 days, maybe 10 days, 30 days, whatever day you decide to stop, I need you for each day to pick one thing that you're grateful for. And on the second day, pick 2 things that you are grateful for. The third day, pick 3 things that you are grateful for, and so on. If you are listening to this podcast, that means that you are blessed and you have another day to be grateful for. So just being alive is something that we can practice gratitude for. I need you to start rewiring your mind and start training your mind to focus on the things that are good. I know that it is sometimes hard, and I am not talking about toxic positivity. I'm talking about just rewiring your mind. Listen, we're human. We have our days where we're not feeling it. Trust me, I know I have those days. But we have the very next day. God gives us a new day to really start to reprogram and start all over again and try again. So for the next, let's say 7 days, let's make it easy. For the next 7 days, practice gratitude. And you will begin to see how your attitude, your mood, your whole demeanor will begin to change. On another note, if you are not following the Bro Bereavement organization, go ahead and follow them. He is on Instagram and he is on Facebook. This is a nonprofit organization that focuses on men and children, helping them heal through the grieving process. So if you have not followed them, please go ahead and check them out. Also, I have some good news. If you have not already subscribed to the new podcast series titled The Homecoming, go ahead and subscribe. By now, the episode should have been released. This is a series that is for women, dedicated especially for women. I will be providing tools and coaching tips on how I began to set my boundaries and how I began to live and go for the life that I'm going for now. And so if this is resonating with you, if you are someone who has been a people pleaser, if you are someone who has given your life to everyone else and you've been the yes girl, then subscribe to that podcast series because I'm going to help you through this journey of coming home back to yourself. So what are we going to be talking about today? Today, we are going to be talking about romanticizing your life. And let me tell you that this topic was almost kind of like a taboo from the world that I'm coming from, that I had just left, which is the religious world. They kind of made it seem as though romanticizing your life was something that was delusional. It was something that, we should not be doing as people who are following God. But I believe that romanticizing your life can really change you. It changed me. And I can't wait to talk to you about Tiffany with this. I'm not even going to say too much because I want Tiffany to give you the goods, to give you the information. And let me go ahead and introduce her. So Tiffany is a certified wellness coach who specializes in self-development, self-love, and overall wellness. She helps men and women rediscover themselves in the healthiest way possible, mentally, emotionally, and physically. Through her coaching and content, she empowers people to reconnect with themselves, with who they truly are, and build a life rooted in healing, confidence, and purpose. Help me by welcoming Tiffany. Welcome, Tiffany. How are you today?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm excited. I'm excited because I was telling our listeners during the introduction that this particular topic is actually almost like a taboo when it came to the religious world that I was connected to. And they really made it seem as if having this romanticizing a part of your life was almost a delusion. And this is something that I actually believed. And I began to implement the romanticizing of my life. It really helped and changed me.
I mean, for somebody to say that's Lulu, sometimes you have to, people that correlate delusional with using their imagination to something that they can't relate to, they use that as delusional. So if it's somebody else's reality that brings some form of joy to their lives, it really doesn't have anything to do with anybody outside of that.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. Thank you for saying that. So can you explain what romanticizing is for our listeners?
Okay. So, from my perspective, romanticizing your life is bringing the small things that you do on a day-to-day basis and amplify them, and probably put a little bit pizzazz in it, put a little seasoning in it, meaning. So, if you are doing something like brushing your teeth or something like that, probably put on some jazz music, or if you're taking a shower, probably light a candle or light an incense and play your favorite music or something like that. Add your favorite essential oils in there and just do like some good exfoliation. Or if you're eating breakfast, or make sure you set up the table really nicely, use your best silverware and also light a candle and use all of those type of things to bring some form of joy, some form of luxury. Even though if you be balling on the budget, sometimes you can still make it a little luxury look, but anything that's going to amplify that moment to be a better moment, if that makes sense.
So romanticizing your life is amplifying the simple day-to-day routine. Love that. So your coaching is focused on helping individuals connect with themselves. Would you say that romanticizing your life will actually help people connect with themselves?
Most definitely.
See that?
Because
Okay.
yeah, because when you do those little things to romanticize your life, you'll find that you love a little bit more about yourself. You'll learn a little bit more about yourself, and you know that, okay, I didn't know that I like this. Let me go ahead and try this. It opens up your thought process to try new things and also to explore new things as well.
I love that because as I was sharing earlier, when I began to romanticize my love, it was as if my self-love was amplified. Like you begin to love yourself. Because when you think about romanticizing, you're thinking romantic. When you're romantic for other people, you're giving them the best, you're laying things out. But when you begin to romanticize your life, you're doing it for you. And that to me is like important. So how can someone begin to change that? Because we can be programmed to look outwardly. We can look for people to do that for us. But how can someone begin to look inwardly and begin to do that for themselves and begin to say, like, I need to do this for myself?
So, one thing that's going to help you understand the things that you need to do for yourself is learning self awareness. Self awareness is extremely important because you'll learn to pay attention to the things that you do, you say, how you feel. And it also triggers something internally to where when you actually learn how to love yourself, you'll learn how to love others properly, because I'm a firm believer you cannot authentically love anybody until you learn how to love yourself first. So that's how I feel. But when you actually apply these type of tools and resources into your day-to-day lives, that will amplify and also make your self-love journey a lot more fulfilling and a lot more easier as well.
Right. And some people have the idea that having self-love is actually selfish. Like for me personally, when I began to really love myself, it was a little hard for me because I felt as if I was being selfish. Some may think that because they're practicing self-love, that they can't show love to other people. So can you begin to break that stigma?
Those that actually say that self-love is selfish, they haven't properly went through the journey themselves, because sometimes when you don't actually go through the process, you really can't relate or understand for that matter. But when somebody say, hey, this is selfish, that person that actually is going through the journey should take a step back and be like, you know what? I know what I deserve. I know what I'm worth. And that's where you have to fall under the concept of awareness and understand that don't take anything personal, because somebody else's perspective of your life have absolutely nothing to do with you. So, with that being said, when it comes down to the stigma of being selfish, that is one of those things where people are unaware or foreign to setting boundaries. Because when you are loving yourself, you set firm boundaries on the things that you will and will not tolerate. And that is, again, a foreign language to a lot of people, because people have so much of an entitlement mindset that when somebody tell them no or reject them or don't give them what they feel like they are entitled to, they actually lash out. And again, they have absolutely nothing to do with you. when you going through your own journey and you know what your heart, where your heart is and where your intentions are, that's where you stand firm at. So the ones that actually say, hey, that is selfish, they haven't went through the process yet, so they can't understand or relate. Two, they are entitled to somebody else's energy, time, effort, and money. And three, they really truly do not have a form of self-awareness to where they are lacking the awareness of projection, if that makes sense.
Ooh, definitely, definitely. I love how you broke that down. Now, would you say that there are other misconceptions or stigmas when it comes to self-love?
Mm. I really think that's the main one. A lot of them feel like that is a form of rejection, or where when people actually retreat or try to go to their own world to actually work on themselves, they tend to take that as a form of sadness. Because I heard somebody say that, are you going through depression when a person is actually practicing self-love? Heard that before. And that was like, that was a little different. That was the first time I actually heard that
I've
one.
actually heard that myself, to be honest, because when I began to practice self-love, I almost went into a place of isolation. When I talk about being isolated, I don't mean that you're cut off from the world, but you're just being separated for a particular time. And people were wondering, like, what's wrong with Giovanna? Like, is she okay? But it was actually a moment of me really empowering myself, me loving myself.
You do try to explain it to people. Sometimes people are so stuck in their own perception of how they view the situation, where they are not open to learning a little bit more about the situation. So I'm going to piggyback off of what you're saying. When it comes down to isolating yourself, when you sit in stillness, quietness, and silence, and sit with your thoughts, you will learn so much about yourself. So you are correct. You had to have to detach from everybody else and go into isolation and go into your own world to find out who you truly are, because all the noise around you is going to cloud your own judgment of who you truly want to be for yourself.
And so would you say isolation is like another form of romanticizing your life?
Honey, it's incense everywhere. Honey, the essential oil diffusers. I have all kinds of nice little lightings everywhere. Honey, the greenery in the back, baby. You got to your environment. I got Zeus here with my big fig tree. I had cut him at least like 3 times. My baby he's big. He's a tree in my house. A whole living tree in my house.
I
So it's,
love.
yeah, some certain things like that, you just have to romanticize your life too. So just your environment. So you can so you can have that sanctuary to where you can have that clarity to think, process, and go through the motions.
Yes, yes. I'm also a plant mom. I have a little baby. I have a few babies now, and I'm so excited about them. But I completely agree. It's like a sanctuary. Like you said, when I come into my home, I'm creating a sacred space. And so when I come home, I'm just like, like I love it here. Like I love being here. There's soft lighting, there's plants, there's flowers. And so it really becomes a sanctuary. Okay, so along with connecting with oneself, what are some other ways that this concept can improve the individual life? Is it good for their mental health or emotions? Let's talk more about that.
It can actually improve your emotions, which could trigger down to how you feel, how your body responds to it in a healthier way, because it could reduce anxiety, depression, regulate your nervous system. Because a lot of people that have high blood pressure, romanticizing your life and making your area more calm and peaceful and more loving is something that actually does help with your physical health. And a lot of people don't correlate that together, because if you are in an environment where it is chaos, this clutter, where you have clutter everywhere, it's not a aesthetically pleasing environment, you will tend to feel a little bit sad. It does affect how you feel mentally, which correlates how your body responds to a lot of the things that you think, feel, and also say in your environment.
Right. I can definitely agree with that because for me personally, when my house is a mess, I can't think. Like I'm frustrated. I'm like, I can't do anything until my area is clean. Especially when I come into my home, I want to come into my home and feel like it's peaceful. And I know there's days that, we have to rush out, but primarily for me, I prefer coming home to a place that is clean, a place that is peaceful, because like you said, it's like a sanctuary. And so I definitely agree with you in romanticizing your life, and doing these little things can actually reduce anxiety. And so how did you begin to romanticize your life, and how did it change for you?
Me personally, it brings some form of calmness because sometimes um sometimes I'll be put in positions where it's more chaotic, or I used to actually be in an environment where it's more chaotic. But being in other individuals' environments to actually like coach, or a lot of people are in high emotions, those type of things are tend to be very draining over a period of time. So the romanticizing my life is making sure that on a car ride home from the office is a lot more soothing, or when I come into my home, make sure that everything is in place. So I have a habit of putting things back where I found them, regardless of the situation, and also making sure that things are organized. It's not like I have OCD, it's just that I am very aware of how I feel when I see these things are in place, or when I'm in a comfortable environment. So I personally feel that how it helped me is to make sure that my environment is more clean, organized, and also put some more effort into myself, the same effort that I would want to put to in my man.
What's so funny is that I'm the same way, and I'm far from OCD, but for like the past 2 to 3 weeks, I've been saying, like, been telling my daughter, like, let's just put things where they belong, because I don't like to feel scattered. I don't like to feel like I don't know where anything is. So if we could just practice putting it back where we find it, I feel like it'll bring some type of ease and some type of peace in my life.
Environment creates a clean and a healthy, clear mind. So that's
Wow.
why I'm very, very keen on making sure that your environment is definitely um comfortable. So that looks different for everyone. So what's comfortable for me may look different to you. So whatever makes you feel a lot more calm and have more clarity when you walk into your sanctuary, that's where the main focus should be.
Right. Okay, so how can someone begin to implement romanticizing their life? Like starting today, what is one thing that they can do? What are some steps that they can take to begin to implement romanticizing their life?
I'm gonna give some tips. So if you are going to bed, um, wearing your favorite pajamas, silk pajamas, put on some perfume or some cologne, actually do your skincare routine. Um, when you do go out, put a little bit more effort into your appearance, even if you want to go to the grocery store to pick up some milk. So add a little bit, put a little bit more time into your hair. Put a little bit more time into how, if you wear makeup on a day-to-day basis, put a little bit more effort into that. Be more choosy of what you wear, because if there's an outfit that you haven't worn in a while and you're waiting for that special occasion, you're an introvert, maybe put the outfit on. Put the outfit on, because when you gonna do it? You barely go out. So also, if your bed is more basic, add a little bit more pizzazz to it. So you add some nice little throw pillows, add a little tray on there with some candles, something like that. It's going to make it a little bit more romantic. Um, let's see, what else, what else, what else? Adding plants, like you said earlier, when you started adding like little plants to your home and things like that, making sure that you clean your home. Matter of fact, before you do any of that, deep clean your home. Deep clean your house and then started adding certain things to it, okay? So those are the things that I can say that actually you can start by romanticizing your life. So, but you all really gotta have to have a feel of what you truly like. And like I said, it'll different for everyone. So when you go through the motions, you'll find out a little bit more about yourself. That's why it is a part of self-love, because loving yourself is discovering little parts about yourself that you did not know that you love, and also you can implement that into other relationships in your life as well with other people.
I love that you said that because, again, as human beings, we love connection. We want connection and we want our person. It's only a part of human nature. And a lot of the times, I think that as people, we believe that someone else is supposed to compensate for the things that we are lacking. Because I want to say it becomes like a blueprint. And I know that everything is energy. So if I'm giving off the energy that I love myself, I take care of myself, I'm romanticizing my life, and the people around me are either going to say, hold on, she's too much or she's just enough because of the energy that I'm giving off.
And if they come into your life, they're going to have to follow suit, especially if they want to stay into your life. And that goes for family members, friends, and romantic partners. So, and I want, if the men are listening as well, men, this applies to you as well. So put a little bit more effort into your life. Romanticize your life. It's not only a woman thing, it's a everybody thing.
Exactly. So how can a man begin to romanticize their life?
That's a good question. I like that. So it still falls under the examples that I gave you as well. Everything that I said about the women, it's the same concept for the men. So men, if you know that you having a woman come over or whatever the case may be, make sure that you clean your home. Add a little bit more candles. Add some essential oils. Add some plants to your environment. Get very familiar with some colognes. Make sure that you have a nice dining room table, so when you do eat dinner, you have a nice area to eat, so it can actually be a experience for you. Get some really good plateware. So if you good silverware, good plateware, and make sure that you get some nice good glasses. Make sure to eat your dinner out of all glass. So those type of things can actually romanticize your life.
No plastic plates and no plastic cups. I love drinking sparkling water in my wine glass.
It tastes better. I don't know if it's a psychological thing, but it feels like it tastes better.
It really does. It really does.
So Tiffany, I definitely enjoyed this interview. Tell our listeners how we can hear from you, how we can find your information, how can we begin to connect with you?
So you can find me on findmyselflove.com. I am located on Instagram, TikTok. Instagram is Let's Find Myself Love. Facebook and TikTok is Find Myself Love. And I do have a book out right now. It's called Back to Me Again. It's available on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle or paperback. In my book, I break down self-awareness, self-acceptance, accountability, forgiveness, detachment, and action. Each chapter, I break down what it is, the signs to look for, and how to apply it in your life, and ask deep questions to actually discover certain parts of your life about each of those chapters. And again, that's on Amazon, Back to Me Again by Coach Tiffany.
And I definitely will be sharing those links on the description of the episode so our listeners can find and connect with you and purchase your book. Thank you so much, Tiffany. This was so much fun.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Bye.